case of any danger. If we face any danger, we need to evacuate immediately to the yard in front of the chapel. The 3 entrances will be open for you to exit. Thanks. Well, my name is Carlos, and I'll be hosting this year's edition of the Participation and Argumentation in Democracy elective debate. On this occasion, I beg you to silence your mobiles so as not to distract any debaters. You are all very welcome, those who are here personally attending this debate, and those who are following us through the online transmission. Father Antonio Bausbo, we really appreciate you joining us. Ms. Doris Moraga, it was really nice to have you here. Ms. Mariluz Martinez, and all the heads of the academic departments, great to count with your support. Dear teachers, schoolmates, and extended audience at home.
Sigue disfrutando de cada espacio de tu hogar con Sodimac. Renovar
Give us a second.
te hace bien. Sodimac, la casa de todos.
St. Gaspar College is proud to form students who are capable of not only debating in English, their opinions in an informed and respectful manner, but also doing it in English. It's really great that we as students have this incredible possibility of demonstrating the development of our English skills both in class and participating in public debates. Debates certainly offer all students the possibility to engage in formal discussions on various topics, using critical thinking to contrast perspectives and to adhere to new stances. All these alternatives constitute an important part of education, helping students develop arguments of importance in their communication, improving their analytical skills, which are utmost importance for fulfilling the objectives of tertiary education. These skills promote logical reasoning, evaluation of information, and they very certainly teach students how to source and assess data, developing a systematic approach to problem solving. I'm very proud to introduce classmates who belong to the 2024 Elective Class of Participation and Argumentation in Democracy. They have researched and documented themselves to present as solid arguments for the topic under the scope today. Has social media improved people's relationships? We're going to listen to the positions of both stances. First, I'm going to introduce the yes team, who state that social media has improved people's relationships. They're Isidora Romero, Martina Jara, and Amanda Alvarez, right there. On the other side, we have the no team, who supports the claim that social media hasn't improved people's relationships. They are Josefa Real, Valentina Gomez, and Lucas Peña. Before we begin, I would like to introduce our esteemed judges, right there. The judges play a crucial role in our debate today. The responsibility to impartially evaluate the arguments presented by each team based on clarity, logic, evidence, and rebuttal. Please join me in welcoming our judges, and let's show them our appreciation for their time and expertise with a round of applause. They are Ms. Monica Ramirez, Ms. Carolina Guzman, teacher of English, teacher of philosophy, Ms. Monica Ramirez, and Ms. Bernardita Cisterna, teacher of history. Let's give a big applause to all of them. Thanks a lot for your work and support. I want to remind you one more time that you silence your phones and to not speak loudly. If you're going to speak, please speak in a low tone so we don't distract the debaters. Let's explain the organization of the debate to understand each and every step. First, both teams will be presenting and backing up their arguments with the first 2 speakers. Then the first crossfire will take place. 2 new crossfires will be produced afterwards. One before the rebuttals and the other before the closing. The general crossfire will take place at the very end. In this case, all students have the possibility to participate. They must respect the rules and follow the indications given by the teacher. In charge of measuring time and announcing time will be Ms. Monica Chamorro, and a student who experienced the debate last year, Benjamin Avilés. Let's welcome them with a round of applause. Well, the rule for any debate establishes that the team who agrees with the claim starts. So let's invite and listen to our schoolmate Amanda Alvarez introducing the stance of her team.
Hello. We believe social media improves people's relationships. Many people are under the impression that social media worsens the ability to communicate when it really can improve it. Discussing this subject can also help to create consciousness about how to use these platforms possibly and healthily in our personal, laboral, commercial, economic, social, and in many more types of relationships. First of all, we should clarify what a relationship is. A relationship is, the Cambridge Dictionary says, a relationship is the way two or more people are connected or the way they behave toward each other. The internet has transformed the way we communicate, relate, and live. Nowadays, there are many platforms that allow people to stay in touch with others at all times, no matter where they are. It also has a lot of benefits in the psychological, sociological, and educational fields. Besides, it is widely commented how the internet has opened a lot of opportunities, like being an entrepreneur, creating new ways of working, facilitating, for example, many processes that can be tedious to schedule or hard to achieve, such as international meetings, sending information, turning work, among others. So as we can see, there are largely many factors and aspects that make us realize how helpful the internet really is. Social media had a boom when the pandemic came. It was the only solution that allowed to continue life relatively normally. And much of it was mostly unknown, but then it was all we used. And when the crisis was over, it continued to be a crucial part of our everyday routine to this day and on. An interesting question that may arise with our argument is, what benefits can truly provide social media? Thank you.
Thanks, Amanda. Now it's time for Lucas Peña to come and share the introductory ideas for his team.
To understand our point, we need to clarify two concepts. What is social media and what are relationships? Social media, according to the Oxford Learner's Dictionary, is a set of websites and applications that enable users to create or share content or to participate in social networking. And relationships, according to the same dictionary, are the way in which two or more people or things are connected, or a state of being connected. Social media is an undeniable force in modern society. It is hitting the current generations all over the world, giving new ways to come together and stay connected with the world around, providing spaces for self-expression. Social media has fundamentally changed the way people initiate, build, and maintain their relationships. Digital communities have become commonplace in our daily lives, and researchers are only beginning to understand the consequences of social media use on future generations. Social media is changing every day, with major platforms like Meta and Instagram evolving into primary digital advertising spaces as much as social ones. A big responsibility falls on marketers to spread messages that inform rather than contribute to the misinformation that drives social media. Some benefits of social media are very valuable. For instance, the role they play in maintaining long relationships with friends and family that moved off to a new city. They have the urge of creating new friendships, and of course, they can use applications like Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, etc. But here, two big questions arrive. Are the relations that we generate by social media totally real? And the relations that are maintained with the state are totally sincere? Thanks.
Thanks, Lucas. Now that the introductions are done, it's time for the arguments to take place. So let's invite Isidora to introduce the first arguments of their team.
Social media has improved people's relationships, and our first argument to support this claim is based on the fact that it improves connection and communication. Firstly, social media has revolutionized the way people maintain long-distance relationships. This kind of relationship is very common nowadays with the easement of international trips in transportation terms. Formerly, individuals embarking on journeys to distant lands face the prospect of losing touch with family and friends, with communication limited to sporadic letters that often take weeks or even months to reach at their destinations, if they arrive at all. But at present, everyone is able to connect with friends and family through messages, photos, and even to see and hear them on live through a video call. Everything in a couple of seconds. Moreover, the psychological benefits of social media cannot be overstated. This easement of communications helps with shyness, low self-esteem, and stress, according to Jeffrey Hancock, professor at the College of Communication at Stanford University. This expert establishes that social media presents an excellent environment for self-affirmation, since it offers aspects that are crucial to self-definition, such as social ties and roles, interests, and affiliations. By providing platforms for social interaction and validation, social media offers individuals a sense of belonging and support, bolstering their confidence and resilience in the face of adversity. On the other hand, social media serves as a digital repository for cherished memories and shared experiences, allowing individuals to document and preserve precious moments with the loved ones for posterity. This constant connection that social media provides strengthens existing relationships, fostering a sense of closeness that transcends physical proximity. This constant connection can foster intimacy and reinforce the bond between partners, according to Mind and Body Counseling Associates. A survey made by Pew Research Center in the USA to teenagers between 13 and 14 years showed 63% of individuals agreed that staying connected with family and friends treat made them feel better. In our country, a survey conducted in 2023 found that around 62.5% of internet users use social media to stay in touch with friends and family. Through social media, people can share their needs and others are able to support those causes, playing a pivotal role in fostering social cohesion and collective action. For example, the case of Camila Gomez, a devoted mother whose son, Tomás Ross, a 5-year-old boy, was diagnosed with the 10th muscular dystrophy, and who, thanks to social media, was in and reached the amount of money to pay for the overly expensive medicine of Tomás. Her case would not have been visible if it wasn't because of social media and the connections it can form. On top of that, social media serves as a virtual canvas for creative expression and self-disclosure, since it gives the opportunity of sharing the way people feel and empowers individuals to effect meaningful change, as do activist campaigns. Social media platforms offer a powerful medium for raising awareness, mobilizing support, and organizing collective action on a global scale. Chilean Dr. Karim Zelis, researcher at the Center for Innovation in Information Technologies for Social Application, states those platforms work as a support to generate more knowledge, working as a connection for educational relationships too. Thanks to social media, everyone is able to collaborate on projects irrespective of geographical barriers. This virtual workspace cultivates teamwork and communication skills essential for success in the modern workforce. Besides, social media makes it easier for students to access educational resources. Platforms like Khan Academy democratize access to learning materials, giving free high-quality instructional content, while also it has created networking opportunities for students. They can connect with professionals and experts in their fields of study and get feedback. This collaborative learning environment facilitated by digital platforms not only enriches the educational experience, but also cultivates essential skills such as critical thinking. Of course, the tool has to be used with responsibility and self-control.
Thanks, Isidora. Now let's invite Josefa Real to introduce the first arguments of their team.
Social media has not improved people's relationships. It has been proven with many studies of different countries and organizations that social media provoke negative effects in the psychological area. One of the most common ones is the difficulty and problems to communicative abilities, especially in kids and teenagers. Think about it. How many of you have feel ashamed or scared when talking or giving an opinion in real life? In real life, you need to confront people. Actually, some people cannot. The reason is simple. They do not have the social skills to do that. So instead, they use nonverbal language. However, on social media, the use of emojis replaces body language, facial expressions, and verbal reactions become invisible. So, the only way people have to communicate their message, it is a text and a few emojis, which can be easily misinterpreted. Social media produces numbness in people who are getting more and more aggressive in their way of being or expressing themselves. And there is a lot of evidence of this. An example of this is a study of Child Mind Institute, who declared that social media provoke numbness and anxiety. All of that produced for the lack of social interactions in real life. You only need to see comments of any influencer, and you will find a lot of negative comments, even inciting suicide. To add to the list, another problem with social media is the obsession. People are becoming more and more dependent on social media. Addiction could happen for many reasons, but the most common ones are loneliness, seeking recognition, and lack of self-control. Chilean people are not that far from this problem. In fact, a technology company called Electronics Hub made a survey to 45 countries about how much time they spend on their phones, and Chile was the 5th country with the most hours of screen time. Another survey made in 2023 shows that 66% of Chilean people think that the biggest problem in Chile is mental health. A coincidence? No. It is clear that there is a problem we are not taking into account. Nowadays, children and teens use a lot of different media to communicate, like Instagram, WhatsApp, and also different games like Roblox, Fortnite, etc. And the first one of the most popular in kids, has many cases of children creating and participating in sexual games and talking inappropriate things in the chat of the game. This can provoke hypersexualization and, of course, anxiety to minors that have never seen that kind of things before. Going deeper into the problem of depression, it is clear that social media is not the root of the problem. Nevertheless, they enhance the problem in different ways. First, social isolation. Social media is highly addictive, and in teenagers it is even worse. Due to the fact that they are in full personal development, they are more vulnerable, sensitive, and above all, more competitive, which leads to comparison. A survey conducted in the USA proved that since cell phones and social networks have increased, the cases of depression have also increased. Along with this, the suicide rate of teenage women increased by 65%. Another important issue is concentration problems. In 2016, a new social media platform called TikTok was introduced, and nowadays it is the third most used social network by teenagers. The biggest problem with this platform is its algorithm, which encourages users to continuously watch videos based on their preferences, leading to many stimuli that can affect concentration. In conclusion, the long-term effect of this damage can be difficult to treat, so while you're still young, it is important to take care of your mental health. Remember, a healthy body includes a healthy mind. A social media detox could be beneficial for all of us, and you will appreciate it in the future. Therefore, we want to invite you to take action regarding this problem and be conscious about the damage that can be caused with the use of social media.
Thanks, Josefa. Now let's invite our schoolmate Martina Jara to present the claim and grounds of their team.
A relationship is the way two or more people are connected, or the way they behave toward each other. In consideration to the second part of the definition, we can widen this concept. For instance, there are also professional relationships, economical relationships, but let's get deeper into professional relationships. How do people interact with each other at work? Since not so long ago, a lot of countries have made use of online working. Some of them are hybrids between an online and a face-to-face form, accomplishing the same hours as a full-time workplace. The global working situation during the pandemic reduced the possibility of going to the workplace. Even though the world is not in a context now, this form of working still exists. Actually, now jobs are more international than before. There are people from other countries relating with people from even other cultures and in other languages. Online working has advantages, like flexible schedules and avoiding the waste of work. You can work whenever you can with your own schedule. This helps mostly parents. If they are home, they can supervise and see their child if something happens. And everyone knows that the quality time you spend with your child it will be crucial when they grow up. So the relationship between mother and son will improve. Having professional relationships is also relevant these days. LinkedIn is the biggest social media platform with professional purposes. People from all over the world can see other people's achievements and their current professional status. You can expand not only your professional profile and knowledge, but also your social skills by collaborating with different professionals. Relating with people who have the same interests and goals is crucial when you're trying to enrich your professional profile. Even the site of LinkedIn provides advice to establish a good professional relationship with someone and suggests how to build it to last. LinkedIn is the best example when we are thinking of the improvement of relationship. It is also a great tool to find job opportunities. These are values positive characteristics in professionals, achievements the person has got, and clarifies the specific working profile. So one of the most highlighted advantages of social media is to promote your personal branding. This platform can allow you to have infinite opportunities to establish new relationships. Economic relationships also matter. They are essential for everything that is around us. We depend on the global economy, which is also guided by relationships previously established. It is well known that exportation and imports are the key to improving the economy of a country. Social media offers the biggest opportunity to relate to the biggest industries all around the world. Through commercial relationships, countries create relationships among themselves. In fact, when countries are frequently in contact with each other, they care about the condition their country is in. The trust that is created can be very useful if something happens to one of the countries or the citizens. For example, when Chile experienced a lot of forest fires, the government detailed that countries like Brazil and Argentina sent help, such as sending specialized fire aircraft brigades. The relationship that at first was only economical improved, remaining not only in the advancement of economic relations, but also protecting the inhabitants of the aided countries, who in turn are the ones who have the capacity to create future relationships. Now, with just a few clicks, you can buy whatever you want from an e-commerce site. If we follow the broad definition of relationship, we can conclude that even small transactions count.
Thanks, Martina. Now let's invite our schoolmate Valentina Gomez to present the claim and grounds of their team. Sorry.
To go further with this topic, everyone already knows that having any type of relationship with someone online is a risk people often take. First, let us check important facts. A study made in 2022 by the Chilean PDI shows that 58% of scams and hacks are done via social media. Another study revealed that by 2022, the percentage of people that had fallen victims to such scams and hacks rose to 19%. In comparison to 2020, that was only 12%. Some of the apps more affected by the scammers and hackers as Facebook, making up to 54% of the cases, followed by Instagram with 16%. All these statistics show us the dark side of social media we do not talk about enough. Before having any type of relationship with someone on social media, ask yourselves, is this really safe? Have any of you ever taken the time to check how safe the app you're using really is? Have any of you ever taken a second of your time to read through any of the guidelines the app provides? Did you know that out of 533 victims of online hacks, only 97 actually made a report? You should know that every time you accept a new follower or a message from someone you do not know, you're putting yourself in danger. In real life, there are a lot of steps one person must take into account to build a relationship with someone. The first and most important being the very first impression. In other words, appearance. All it takes to form an impression of a stranger is a tenth of a second with only seeing their face. Meanwhile, you cannot do that on social media. Everyone that has posted a picture on any type of app knows how much you can edit it to make it more appealing. When posting, people always make sure to show the best side of themselves, making it appear as they were living an amazing life. This is a known fact. If we cannot be sure of who is actually behind the screen, and the first impression is highly manipulated by how well edited the photos are, then how real is the relationship? This correlates to the next point, online friendships, the most common type of relationship that can be born through social media. Most of you will agree that we should not believe everything we see on social media. So how does that apply to online friendships? Well, that can be answered by one single question. Is the self you show in real life the same you show on social media? No, it is probably not. The same applies to online friendships. The self each person shows is not the real self. People might argue that online friendships are real and genuine, but if the fundamental pillar to form a friendship, which is honesty, was broken from the very start, then that relationship was not real enough to begin with. People on social media have to constantly deceive everyone, including themselves, just to try to catch some online stranger's interest. How is that supposed to be an improvement on actual human relationships? This kind of relationship people form is just a never-ending cycle of constant pressure to keep that fake image of themselves, editing all the ugly and boring parts in hopes of getting that validation they so badly crave. In the end, people just lose their identity, not able to differentiate between their social media persona from their true self. The price to pay to connect with someone on social media is way too high. People give up their authenticity and end up damaging their self-esteem and self-worth just for that cause. Real connections can only be born from authenticity and vulnerability in a space where you feel safe to be who you are and do not have to worry about keeping up a performance to impress someone else, where there are feelings of security, mutual trust, and mutual understanding between all the parties involved. While social media may help you interact with someone from around the world, that does not mean you have connected with that person. Real progress will be the ability to connect with other people while not betraying one's true personality, something we believe social media has yet to accomplish, as it strips what a real relationship is to its basic concept of chatting with someone and sharing interests, ignoring all the other important steps we previously established that are necessary to form a meaningful and fulfilling relationship.
Thanks, Valentina. Now let's invite our schoolmate Martina Jara to support the claim for their team.
You mentioned hypersexuality, but that's not social media's fault. We believe that's a negligent act coming from the parents. So what's your response?
I think that we can separate social media and people, because people are using social media and we don't know who the person behind the screen is. So maybe your kid of 7 years old is playing with an adult that can talk inappropriate things. So I don't think that it's only a fault of parents. Nowadays, children in general are hypersexualized. So I think that.
I mean, I agree with some of the things you said, but I repeat, why would a child playing without supervision? For example, if a 4-year-old kid is playing, I don't know, an online game, why is he not being, I don't know, why the negligent act of the parent? Why no one is seeing what he's doing or she's doing?
I think it's inevitable that children are playing without supervision, because nowadays parents are working and it's something real. Of course, it will be perfect if parents supervise this child, but
Now we're going to give 1 minute for both teams to prepare the second crossfire of the debate. Team No will start this time. Pay attention to time assigned.
Okay. Isidora, you mentioned that social media gives communication and validation, and our team strongly disagrees. How Josefa showed is that there's a lot of backlash that comes from using social media, and that validation that you say it gives turns into neededness. How would you respond? Like, what is really to give from social media?
Well, through social media, you are able to share the way you feel. People from all around the world can share the same feeling as you, or can support what you're going through. And, well, statistics also show that people feel more connected and more secure about themselves because of social media. Social media, according to Pew Research Center, affirm that social media facilitates a heightened sense of connection, and that makes people more secure about themselves.
All right, but about the stay in touch part, is that connection really real, staying in touch while using your phone? Would you use your phone to communicate with everyone? If just you can send a text, is that really it?
If I know a person, if it's my friend, of course I'm going to use social media to stay in touch with them, because what if I travel to, I don't know, far away and I miss them?
Now we're going to give 1 minute for both teams to prepare the third crossfire of the debate. Team Jess will start, especially Amanda. Amanda will start. So pay attention to time assigned.
We are certain that social media improves relationships. It's a fact that nowadays social media is the base of many practices, jobs, and daily tools that are very useful to carry out the lifestyle we have. LinkedIn, as Martina just said, is a great example of ways to facilitate communication and procedures that we have to make in the labor field, such as looking for new employees, interviewing them, and so on. Matias Villanueva, a Chilean user of the app LinkedIn, who is also a specialist on digital marketing, was interviewed by Cesar Castro, a strategic storyteller. In this interview, Matias talks about the importance of social media for labor relations and publicity, since through it we can reach a much wider audience. There are many platforms in which you can do these advertising campaigns, and also signing for online courses in which they teach you to manage all these tools. He himself has an online academy where they teach all this. In addition, he comments that he leads and manages all through the internet, advising people so that they can have the opportunity to work in what they are passionate about with ease. And because he has been in this digital world for many years, the process we had to go through during the pandemic was easier for him and his business. Little by little, he started to teach people how to utilize internet gadgets to position their own brand, promote their products and services, and make a living from their passion. In a few words, he has constructed his life over social media, with all the amenities that come with it, and helping others to do the same. The University of Murcia researched a social media topic and published a study called Media and Social Networks, research about its use and the consumption in adolescents from Murcia. In this study, they investigated the digital and communicative behavior of teenagers in social and mobile media, the use of the means of communication and internet community, pointing out its positive influence on their behavior and their relationships. The university said that social media is not just a way of entertainment, but it's also a massive source of immersion, and it has a crucial role of the forming identity of people and their socialization, especially on adolescents, because they usually utilize social networks to express themselves, their opinions, and lifestyles. The internet community is also a key platform for social interaction among people in general, but that said, mostly teenagers. It allows to create and maintain friendships, even if they are far away, along with communities made to comfort people if they are going through a tough time or just need motivation. It is very important, though, to teach people to be responsible for their own actions in these apps to prevent anyone from getting hurt. There is a BBC My World video in which Joe Tidy, cybersecurity reporter, talks about the benefits of social media. He tells us that in many situations, such as when you are feeling isolated or lonely, or if you feel like there's something you need help with, you can find the community through social media who can share the experiences and help you out. This communication can lead to a great understanding of each other, and it also brings some real change. Think about how many times we have heard or seen news that if we're not for social media, we were never known about. Social media allows us to meet people that without the internet we wouldn't have the possibility to know of. For example, the case of Fernando Jara, father of Dante, who started working a little bit more than a month after the mother of Thomas Ross. He has to get 3,500 million pesos to buy a multi-million-dollar medication for his son that suffers from a terminal disease. And this could not be possible without social media. That is largely a key factor in the spread of this and many heart-touching news. Think about Greta Thunberg. At the age of 15, she started skipping school every Friday to stand in front of the Swedish parliament with a sign that said, "School strike for the climate." And this started spreading to become a global movement. Teens all over the world tuned in and were closely communicated around one single objective, save the world. Thanks to the internet and social media, Greta started a relationship with the rest of the world and got her followers to join her cause, something impossible to conquer without social media, right? Thank you.
Thanks, Amanda. Let's invite Lucas Peña to present arguments for their team.
It is essential to reflect about how fair relationships on social media are. If people on social media are regularly sharing fake news, misinformation, trying to produce political disaffection, how will social media provide common people a sense of security about the relationships they initiate or keep through it? Online social networks are rapidly growing and have become a huge source of all kinds of global and local news for millions of users. Although the great advantages they offer, such as unlimited easy communications and instant news and information, they also have many disadvantages and issues. One of the real challenging problems is the spread of fake news. Fake news identification is still a complex and unresolved issue. Furthermore, fake news detection in no sense present unique characteristics and challenges that make finding a solution anything but trivial. On the other hand, artificial intelligence approaches are still incapable of overcoming this challenging problem. Consequently, automatic fake news detection remains a huge challenge, primarily because the content is designed in a way to closely resemble the truth. By means of a survey to a national sample made in 2017 and in 2018, a study quantified how exposed are users to fake news. how many of them believe this fake news, and how many of them share this fake news with the contacts. More than 75% of the children respondents informed that they are conscious about at least 4 affirmations that are fakes, especially about the huge forest fire of 2017 and scientific myths related with the vaccine. A big example of fake news is Operation Colombo. Here we can see how macabre and harmful topics of fake news is for society, causing irreparable damage to people and their trust in the political system. Furthermore, by assuming that people are all parts from the public organism of a country by hiding information or by corrupting it, a whole country will be disrespected. An entire country which will have complete security in the national public organism, resulting in consequences such as distrusting social media, undermining the democratic process, the creation of platforms with harmful conspiracy theories and hate speech, and the spread of false or discredited science. Now, Facebook, with 42% of young respondents, is a platform with more Facebook constancy fake news is shared. Chile is among the Latin American countries with the most Facebook users. Now, dealing with propaganda, misinformation, and fake news. Fake news is news articles that are intentionally and verifiably false and could mislead readers. This information attempts to confuse or manipulate people through delivering dishonest information to them, while misinformation is misleading information created or disseminated without manipulative or malicious intent. There is also malinformation, which is the intentional dissemination of confidential information by typically changing context, date, or time for personal or corporate rather than public interest. It can be concluded that political disaffection fueled by the proliferation of fake news remains a huge challenge for contemporary democracies. Fake news feeds people distrusting public policies in the institutions they govern and in the norms that they establish as optimal for society. People will feel very distrustful when electing representatives in votes, decreasing people's confidence in the propaganda in their representatives, and distrusting the promises of candidates. Thus, the essential exercise of democracy, which is the power exercised by people, is weakened. To mitigate this disaffection, it is crucial to implement educational strategies that strengthen media literacy and promote critical thinking. Furthermore, collaboration between political parties, digital platforms, and control organizations are essential to counteract the spread of fake news and restore trust in the political system.
Thanks, Lucas. Now we will start the second crossfire of the event. Starts Amanda.
So, you said something about fake identity, and we think that there are also many things and tools that in social media that can help to prevent some of that. What do you have to say?
Can you repeat the question? Are you asking why there's a fake image created by social media?
No, I say that there are many tools in social media that can help to prevent like fake identity, like reporting accounts or scam, etc.
Yeah, and do you know them? Because not many people know them. That's the problem. People don't read the guidelines that tell you how to deal with that kind of problem. So that's an issue that has to be fixed. It's not an improvement if people cannot know how to use it, you know?
But social media has tools. People don't read them. It's not social media's fault because social media has the tools to prevent that stuff. But most people don't get informed.
Okay, Martina, you made a big relation between professionals and the pandemic. And do you think that social media improved something else, taking apart the professional area?
Yes, like I said, it also improved the economic relationships because, you know, when we were in the pandemic, we can't leave our house. So what was the solution? I don't know, deliver a Rappi, that was the solution. And I personally think till today, that's very used. And professionals, maybe it's not but I think yes, apart from professional relationships, economical also improved. And also friendships and relationships in general more personal, because they can still be connected because of the distance, for example. If you're in another country, you still can be connected with someone who is not in your country.
Okay, time.
Now we're going to give 1 minute for both teams to prepare the third crossfire of the debate. Team Jess will start. Pay attention to the time assigned.
There are 5 minutes to prepare the rebuttals. Okay, take 5 minutes to prepare your rebuttals, and then just thank you.
Now, Josefa Real will start the crossfire, and yes, the rebuttals.
It is utopic to think that everyone will use social media in a healthy way. Nowadays, it's not a complement like it should be. Now it's a supplement of social relations. We depend on a lot of virtual interactions, and the social exchanges are less satisfactory and successful. Maybe social media are more efficient than letters, for example, but say that they improve people's relationships, it's completely false. Although social media connects you with people around the world, in fact, they could deteriorate the quality of your social relationships. Firstly, they promote a superficial way of communication based on a like and quick comment instead of significant and deep conversations. Also, they can create a fake sense of connection due to online interactions that not always reflect a real bond. Besides, spending so much time on social media could distance us from face-to-face interactions, weakening our emotional bonds and our ability to relate effectively to the real world. Instagram was like the street during the lockdown. Instagram is the platform with the worst impact for the welfare in teenagers, causing anxiety, depression, insomnia, irritability, apathy, loss of interest in age-appropriate tasks, even a syndrome called FOMO. The acronym means fear of missing out, which consists in the feeling of excessive worry of missing important events in social networks. It's psychological pathology very related to addiction of social media. Adolescence also had a biological impact because with human interactions it produced oxytocin, a good hormone that provokes a welfare sense. On the other hand, social media produces a fake sense of satisfaction. In extreme cases, when it is impossible to have contact with other people and the only way is by social media, one of the biggest effects in neurobiological terms is that the virtual interactions are not satisfactory. The reason? The effect of taking hands, seeing someone smile, and even hug someone is more pleasant for the brain. A clear example of that is the case of the likes. When you like something or someone on social media, you only have to send a heart. But in real life, you need to talk with the person. And of course, the first case is more simple than the second one. Furthermore, social media negatively affects concentration and productivity, which produces a low academic performance in students. The distractions, the bad use of time, the social comparisons, and the mental fatigue contribute to a decrease in academic success, which also affect the future professional prospects of students. Besides, the excessive time spent on social media subtract value in other significant activities, giving a sense of social isolation and detachment from reality. On a physical level, the excessive use of electronic devices associated with social media can have negative effects on a kid's health. The lack of physical activity and prolonged external exposure can contribute to a sedentary and unhealthy lifestyle in children, increasing the link of long-term chronic diseases. Therefore, social media has limitations that make it not entirely efficient. For instance, the proliferation of misinformation and fake news on social media can undermine public trust and make it difficult to find accurate and reliable information. In summary, while social media may have certain benefits such as global connectivity and free expression, they also face significant challenges that limit their effectiveness and outweigh the benefits. When we communicate face-to-face, we have access to a wide range of nonverbal cues, which help us interpret the full meaning of a message. However, on social media, these signals are limited or non-existent. For example, a simple comment on social media could be interpreted in different ways, depending on the mood of the reader, their past experience with the other person, and even the moment of the lecture. Without a good context, an innocent message could be interpreted as sarcastic, critical, and even offensive. This can create tensions and misunderstanding in the users, and provoke a negative impact in interpersonal relationships.
Now Isidora Romero will make the rebuttals of their team.
As fairly highlighted, one of the significant advantages of social media is its ability to foster connections, thereby enriching interpersonal relationships. Statistical evidence reveals that a significant portion of individuals perceive social media platforms as instrumental in enhancing their sense of connectivity with their significant others. According to Pew Research Center, an authority 59% of respondents affirm that social media facilitates a heightened sense of connection with their partner's life events. On the other hand, a Wi-Fi challenge shows 72% of teens feel more connected to their friends because of social media. media. It is said that social media can demolish romantic relationships due to being a source of stress and conflict. However, statistics show 68% do not feel jealous or unsure of their relationships due to social media. As Dr. Justin Lemire, a social psychologist and research fellow at the Kinsey Institute, states, the key is to use social media mindfully and to be aware on how it's affecting the relationship. On the other hand, 70% of people feel that their relationships are not negatively affected by social media use during quality time, according to Wi-Fi Talents. Besides, everyone should know that social media is not here to replace face-to-face interaction. It's here to make them easier. Wi-Fi Talents has another statistics to support this point. Only 12% of respondents were more comfortable discussing personal issues online and offline. As we can see, people are not leaving behind natural interactions thanks to social media. In the landscape of modern economics and labor dynamics, according to Upwork, by 2025, an estimated 32.6 million Americans will be working remotely, which equates to about 22% of the workforce of the United States, something that would be impossible and would delay economic growth if it wasn't because of social media. Since this kind of working creates new work positions in vital little industries. Platforms such as Meet and Zoom has revolutionized the way professionals communicate and conduct business remotely. Up to 2023, 12.7% of full-time employees work from home, while 28.2% work a hybrid model. Social media is a very helpful tool that can increase the economic level of a country. Until others were made in 2020 that modifies the work code and made both in-person and on-live jobs possible. Formerly, women with postnatal care were not able to work and they had an out-working period that at the end affected their contributions and future work purposes. But now they are able to work from home and at the same time take care of their children, not losing career time. Probably the most used counter-argument from the other team was fake news. But what is fake news really? The definition of this concept is it consists of pseudo-journalistic content disseminated through new portals, written press, radio, television, and social networks, and whose objective is to misinform. Based on the description, it becomes necessary to highlight the fact that fake news does exist not only in social media, but also in almost, if not all, the cumulative spectrum. Fake news is not a social media problem, but an intrinsic human problem in its need for attention, and mostly the evil that is found within many human beings. And that can be expressed through television, newspapers, and radio, too. Social networks, although they can be blamed for sometimes spreading false information, cannot be blamed for being the origin of it because they are not. To solely attribute the prevalence of fake news to social media is to overlook the broader social-cultural factors at play. Fake news existed widely before social media, so the really important idea here is to know how to filter information. When viewing information, each one must be autonomous and seek support for it on other official platforms. Instead of scapegoating social media, it's imperative to recognize that combating fake news necessitates a multifaceted approach. Individuals must cultivate critical thinking skills and exercise discernment when consuming information irrespective of its source.
Now we're going to give 1 minute for both teams to prepare the third crossfire of the debate. Valentina Gomez will start with the second rebuttal.
Crossfire. Sorry.
Okay, Amanda, you said that when you feel isolated, you should use social media. But isn't that just creating a neediness, like a dependency on social media?
I said that I didn't say that you should. I said that you could if you don't have like the support you need. You can find communities through social media, so you can feel supported.
Okay, so it is a maybe. So social media is not even fully helpful. It's just a maybe because it could help some people. Is that really it?
It's a tool that you can record to. You can use it so you can have, for example, a professional help. If you feel like sad or for example, in pandemic, we all kind of needed like a psychologist, and it wasn't. It was all through social media.
Okay, Lucas, you said something about fake news. You said it was a social media problem, but what do you think about the fact that fake news does exist not only in social media, but also in almost the cumulative spectrum, basically?
Can you repeat the last part, please?
What do you think about the fact that fake news does exist not only in social media, but also in almost the cumulative spectrum, if not all?
Yeah, I mentioned that they didn't exist only on social media because I talked about the Operation Colombo. And the Operation Colombo was a montage made in an Argentine magazine in the newspaper. And yeah, I agree with you that fake news are not only present in social media, but now we have many points to evaluate at the moment of talking of fake news in social media, like I don't know, the fire in forestal fire in 2017.
Now, Martina will start with the second rebuttal. Second rebuttal, yes.
The National Library of Medicine proved that in the pandemic, work colleagues improved their relationship and they highlighted the importance of teamwork. When the pandemic started, the only solution was connecting people through the internet, and it worked really well. Numerous companies decided to keep on with this structure so that they could have an easier work environment, continuing the modality that helped them to get through a tough time. This is why we consider online working as a relationship guided only by social media and the importance of it, improving communication and more. The first things that come to mind when you think about relationships is romantic and friendship relationships, which they are, but not the only ones. The world is full of different types of relationships. People know about the existence of economical and professional relationships, but they do not realize how common they are. Mostly because when people hear about economical relationships, they think the economy is way too far from reality, even when the economy is guided by people and relationships established among them. When you buy something through Amazon, you are creating a relationship with the seller by being the client. What people need to understand nowadays is that social media could be a strong ally for any kind of thing we need, because the relationship that can be created are countless with unlimited intentions. As it was said before, indeed, there are some really harmful disadvantages, but people cannot forget how humans are. There are some behaviors that are not social media fault. The urge to misinform, to extort, are attitudes that have been in existence since way before than social media. These people just take advantage of the facilities social media have with connection and bring the worst trait a human can have. But this occurs with almost everything that has been created by humans. Students mostly use social media for research, knowledge of different areas, and also to stay related with friends. It is important to feel related with friends and family, but social media can be a plus for students, helping them in their process of learning, gaining wisdom about topics that are not taught in school, improving their entitled knowledge for life, and helping students so they can make more mindful decisions. People also use social media as a place when they can express themselves without hesitation and find a social circle with the same ideas and talks. In addition, it is very important to socialize with different types of people. Someone who is completely different to you can help you expand your critical thinking and opinions because of the knowledge and experience they can share with you. So, what about the exposition of privacy on social media or fake identity? The option to not have social media exists, but if you still want to use any platform, there are some recommendations to avoid the massive exposure you could get if you're not careful enough. The most important recommendation is not to reveal too much information about yourself, like full name, like location, among others. Taking care of the information you provide on social media is an art you must always respect, as you can never be sure who is behind a profile. You have to be careful when you accept a request to follow you. It could end up being a scam. Managing your security settings is also something basic but important if you care about exposition. Make sure with whom you share information with. The last one is avoiding quizzes that require personal information. Most of the time, these are made to give you more personalized ads and different types of scam, giving you personal information to businesses. But it will leave you in a vulnerable position if we refer to privacy. And yes, social media improved people relationships. It had revolutionized the way we interact and relate to others, offering platforms to connect with people around the world, regardless of geographical barriers. The call to action is the same for all the things that have been created by humans. Social media platforms can be a very powerful tool for improving human relationships when used with moderation and self-control.
Now Valentina Gomez will present the second rebuttal of the debate.
You may have the impression that social media has been of help in improving people's relationships, whether it be with colleagues, family, or friendships, thanks to their partake in facilitating the maintenance of a relationship using different tools and features it possesses, like messages. Well, we can agree that it is convenient. In the general scale of things, that is not an improvement that can be related to people's relationships, as it is more of a technological advance that was made. If social media was really this big improvement you claim it to be, then would any of you stop talking to your significant others face-to-face just because you can send a text? An improvement is any change for the better. In this case, social media provides no improvement as it is unable to better the regular way we have of preserving our relationships. We can easily corroborate this by looking back on time, back when we were still on the middle of a pandemic, and everyone was locked inside their homes. In this extreme situation, sure, social media was of use in helping people maintain their relationships and communications with their loved ones, but that was as far as it went. Social media was an aid in maintaining interactions, but were those interactions the same as pre-pandemic connections? A sad reality one could face in the pandemic was losing touch with the people you care about. Even with all the gadgets the people had to keep the relationship, in most cases the relationship still faded and faded. And that is because the connection was broken. People lost interest because no matter how advanced the solution social media provided was, it still could not replace real interactions and physical meetings. In the end, it was clear that social media could not even be a temporary replacement to what social relationships generated in the people. To finalize, we can conclude that indeed there has been no improvement, in some cases even a setback, thanks to social media regarding people's relationships. On the contrary, we affirm more wrong than good has been done thanks to social media. Everyone can see that clearly in the first argument, where we showed how damaging social media actually is. The harm it did in the development of communication skills, especially in children and teenagers, as social media replaces regular face-to-face interactions and not-verbal communications. There is also a problem with addiction and obsession that leads to low motivation and contributes to depression and concentration problems, especially with platforms like TikTok that create a need for constant stimulations. In the second argument, we saw how the first impression formed in person is very different from the online first impression, since some people can heavily edit their appearance and portray an idealized version of themselves. Thanks to that, most of the online friendships broke the fundamental pillars to form a real relationship that were honesty and vulnerability, as people felt pressure to constantly maintain a fake image. And finally, on the third argument, we saw how social media platforms as a double-edged sword that offer many benefits but also allow the spread of fake information and misinformation, some type of false information were fake news, disinformation, misinformation, and malinformation. This type of fake news, like Operation Colombo, cause significant harm because they can weaken public trust and spread false information that can become a serious threat to democracy, that lead to political disconnection and apathy. While we invite you to reflect, starting by always questioning how safe you are, no matter the app or site you are using, or who you are interacting with while using the app. We also recommend taking the time to disconnect, as it is always good to take a step back from social media. It's always better to start little by little, just reducing a few minutes of the time you use on social media to do something that can help you reconnect with reality. Since social media is not a place that should be glorified. And finally, always remember to never believe all the things you see on social media, as it may not be what it appears to be.
Now we are going to give 1 minute to prepare the last crossfire of the debate. If we take time from their break, it will be given back.
All right, Amanda, you mentioned Greta Thunberg and how it was of help and all of that. Well, the problem with that is that nowadays Greta Thunberg is seen as just a meme. And that's because of social media and all the backlash she received from it. She was treated horribly, and she admitted that in a tweet made in 2021, where she said how she was constantly pressured to keep a fake image like we previously established. So what about that?
Well, that fact, it does not quit the fact that she's still an activist, and she has. It also has helped her a lot to expand her message, and also many people are with her in her movement. And for example, there was a video in where she would talk about climate changing, climate, and it was transmitted to all the world. And in that moment, many people too were connected and joined her cause. It does not quit the fact that it's still an activist and it's still a global movement.
Yeah, but she sacrificed her mental health for being an activist. We cannot have one and take out the other, you know?
Respecting to that, that is no social media's fault, because activists exist since widely before social media, and before social media they received a lot of hate. For example, the activists of the 20th century, they were always attacked, and social media didn't exist in that time. So that's not social media's fault. Social media makes it easier for activists and for campaigns to be seen. But the fact that some people hate some activists is not social media's fault. It's people's fault that have been existed since widely before social media, and not only through social media.
Okay. Again, I think that social media can be separated with humans because there is a connection, is the crucial connection. And also, respect to that, I want to tell that you say that social media doesn't have the fault about people, but social media use algorithm to capture people, and that provoke addiction, and social media doesn't care about it. So what do you have to say about it?
Can you repeat, please?
Yes. You say that social media has not the fault about what people do, but social media also have algorithm to capture people, and that of course provoke addiction, and social media doesn't care about it. So it have the fault actually.
Well, addiction to social media needs professional help, like psychologists. Also, everything can generate addiction, not only social media, and everything created by humans can generate addictions or cause bad things, not only social media.
Now we ask the judges to give us their opinion and tell us which team presented the most powerful and convincing arguments.
Gracias. So, in English. Good morning to everyone. We want to thank everyone that is here and thank both of the teams. Both of you did really well, but obviously we have to give one team is the winner. Not everyone can win. Well, say thank you, obviously, to everyone in the English team for inviting us as the judges. And by that, saying that, the arguments were really good in both teams, and we have to obviously see really carefully what everyone was saying and the backup information, the way that you presented, not just the vocabulary and the pronunciation, just the way, because it's a debate, we have to see obviously the backup information and the way you speak and the way that you present it and work as a team. So we spoke and we came to the conclusion that the team that won is the team of no. So congratulations to the team. You did really good, but obviously.
Go. Before you leave, we want to thank the leadership team for attending this debate and for motivating students to participate in this kind of activity. We also want to thank the judges for taking this crucial role in this debate. We really hope that you feel motivated to participate in future editions of this debate. Thanks to you, the audience, whether you're here or following this transmission, you play a big role in debates. You're the ones who analyze the arguments, you're the ones that question these arguments, and you're the ones that create conclusions based on what you've heard. We also want to motivate you to participate in other activities, whether they're organized by the Student Council or any other academic area. Participating in activities will always improve skills. It could be analytical skills, maybe some skills in sports. The only thing you need to do is commit and participate, giving the best of yourself. So thanks to you a lot, and have a wonderful day and a wonderful weekend. You may leave now.
We are going to make some photographs, so please, judges and the priest there, okay, both teams there in the center, yeah? And the audience, please, well, you must wait or you can leave. Thank you a lot for coming, okay? Really, I appreciate it.